Exodus 2. After a 6-day flurry of manic activity, on the seventh day, God crashed super hard. To ensure no one disturbed him, he made that day a super holy day of rest. Okay, this is where things start going off the rails. Even though we went through all of creation in the other chapter, this chapter tells another account of creation. We're not told which is the accurate one, despite the obvious discrepancies between the two. Let's see if we can follow along. We're now told that God made a man on the very same day he created the earth and space. No mention at all of woman like in the previous chapter. In this version, God shoveled together a mound of dirt, sprinkled some God dust onto it, and out came man. From this dirt. Man. From dirt. Call me crazy, but I like the clones of God version of mankind way more. God immediately realized he didn't want to raise this man. He refused to put the man up in heaven, and he definitely didn't want to feed this man. God solved his dilemma by creating a magical garden that would give this man shelter and food. God called it Eden. He also made sure that tons of shit grew out of the ground so that this man could grab whatever from the ground and eat it. Oh, and then, for some mysterious reason, God put the tree of knowledge of good and evil in the garden. I wonder if that's going to come up later. If you're enjoying Libel the Bible version, come join our Patreon for an always growing catalog of interruption-free biblical chapters as read and interpreted by us. Come check us out at patreon.com/libelthebible. For now, let's get back into this thing. Anyway, if you ever go looking for Eden, it's described as being somewhere in the east, by the Tigris and Euphrates, where gold is abundant. Now, at this point, God realized this. Man he created was an empty vessel and probably needed some type of guidance. God reluctantly addressed this mortal. He intended to tell him about all the vegetation in detail, explain all the animals and how they function. He was prepared for all that, but unfortunately, all that came out was,
"You can eat anything here you want. Anything. Except this one tree. You see, I just moved into heaven yesterday and haven't exactly figured out where to put it. But for the time being, I'll just stash it with you. So please, don't fuck around with this tree. Oh, by the way, if anyone asks, it's called the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil."
Now that the tree storage issue was resolved, God knew he needed to create a bunch of animals to keep this man busy. God had other shit he needed to get done, and he wasn't about to hold this man's hand for all eternity, alright? The problem with creating all these animals was that he really didn't feel like naming every living fucking thing. He decided to place man in charge of that tedious task, making it seem like it was a huge honor to name every single thing that creeps and crawls and flies and swims and crawls in feces and fuck knows what. After a while, man realized he was basically alone, without a partner, or friend, or peer. He kept hoping God would stop by every so often to hang out and talk. That never happened. Finally, God realized he needed to give this man a partner. One day, he roofied man, performed some type of surgery, during which he extracted a rib that he then used to create woman. So yeah, slightly different from Exodus 1 mankind. Anyway, it wasn't long before man figured out he could have intercourse with woman. After all, they were both naked all the time, and slut-shaming did not exist yet. End of Exodus 2.